hear me clearly?
Oh, I can hear you great, man. I can hear you great.
All right.
All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. It is 8:30 on the east, 5:30 p.m. on the west, and we got JReal Da Realest, one of the realest MCs out of California, right here on the line. How you doing this evening?
You already know what it is, man. Just chilling. You know what I'm saying? Doing me.
That's what's up, man. I hope everything's all good on your end during this terrible pandemic's going on, man. COVID's taking over the world.
Yeah, man. You know, it's crazy out here, but as long as the kids are safe, I'm all right, man. You know.
And if you don't mind me asking, man, like, what made you decide to get into the music industry from the beginning?
To be honest, man, I started off writing poetry. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I kind of got influenced by a generation. You know, gangster rap came along, and you know, lyricism as far as the late 90s was coming out. You had, like, cats like Common Sense and Talib Kweli and Raz Cavs and, you know, all these cats that were very lyrical. So I decided to just formulate my poems and the lyrics, man, and the rest was history.
And you also had the opportunity to work with some of the biggest individuals within the industry, and one of them was actually Cocaine. I have to ask you, how did you and Cocaine get connected? Like, what's the story behind that?
Um, Man, Uncle Coca, man, what it really happened was, man, I spent some personal time in Pomona around a lot of cats that were surrounded by cocaine, and eventually, when I got the opportunity to be in the same, you know, area as him, I just approached him. You know, I just approached him as an indie artist who was trying to work, and he showed me a lot of love, and it wound up turning into like a mentorship, man. You know, we wound up calling each other every other week, and he was, you know, blessing me with a lot of game and introducing me to a lot of cats. So it just formulated as a relationship, kind of like, you know, steel sharpens steel, and an OG kind of putting a young artist on.
And most definitely, man. And Cocaine is such an amazing individual as well. I heard something when I interviewed him. He actually has he did over 1,000 different features within his career, if not more.
Yeah, he is the most featured artist in history.
And I don't think
He is
anybody can
that,
top those
and
numbers either.
what you say?
I was gonna say I don't think anybody could ever top those numbers either.
No, I mean, you got to think about it, man. He was doing music before Ruthless Records. You know, Ruthless Records is EVE's record label, and he was signed to Ruthless Records. And he was doing music before then, featuring with artists before then. So we talking about maybe almost a 30-year track list. So nah, you're not gonna be able to top that in a newer generation of music at all.
And you also, so I have to say one thing. Do you think also down the road that you also might do any more work with Cocaine, or do you think that's the only time?
Oh no, I actually have two tracks with Cocaine. Um, One called "Let Me Get My Point Across." The other one called "Realest in the Game." And definitely, we're gonna be working more in the future. We have plans to work on some projects, actually in the immediate future this year, as a matter of fact. And then I know I will be shooting some music videos. He's gonna be appearing as cameos in a few of them. So yeah, you can look forward to a lot of work with me and Uncle Coke.
And you are also the CEO at Chain Gang West. Can you tell us a bit more about that company, and also how did it come to be?
Chain Gang West Consultants, and then we have Chain Gang West Promotion. Actually, what it was is I took a trip down south, and I met up with some cats who were looking to get a connection on the West Coast, and we started working. And they had a chain gang company called Chain Gang, and so I just kind of linked up with them, partnership with them, and we talked. And it was like, you know what, I'm gonna develop Chain Gang West, and kind of sister branch it out, and just kind of develop the West Coast entity to it. Shout out to all my members of Chain Gang out there in Georgia, Atlanta, Savannah, and Augusta. We've been doing a lot of work for a few years now, but yeah, the consulting company, Chain Gang West Consulting, we do, with my experience with over 20 years of doing this music, starting from nothing, coming from nothing, doing the independent route. It's a lot of cats out here that have really no idea how to move out the basement, how to get out the studio. They make good music. Their homeboys listen to it. They might be a hot commodity in their neighborhood, maybe even their city, but they don't know how to branch out further than that. They don't have no idea about SoundScan, BMI, ASCAP, trademarking, copywriting. And so that's just kind of the information that we provide over at Chain Gang West Consultants. And the promotion end of it is just using all of the outlets that I have built over the years and all of the connections I've made, bridges I've built with certain companies like Business 50 Complex Magazine, World Star, Double XL, and things like that. Just giving the indie artists an opportunity to be able to branch with those level of promotion and marketing versus having to pay thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars to a middleman company.
And I also saw on your Facebook page that you are writing a book called Land of No Pity. Can you tell us a bit more about that book, and also what made you decide to actually become an author?
Well, actually, I just started writing. I did. Honestly, I just started writing. They say that sometimes the best way to get things off your chest, off your mind, off your spirit, is to write it down. And so I started writing some of the things I was dealing with in life, and I kept writing. And then I went through a period where I was incarcerated, and I kind of finished it in there. And Land of No Pity, as those from Los Angeles know, is another title that we have for Los Angeles. It's called the city, or the land, or the Land of No Pity, or Land of the Scandalous. There's a lot of different titles that those who reside in Los Angeles have given it. And so the Land of No Pity is actually a biography. It's a story of my life growing up, being raised in South Central Los Angeles, going through what I call the South Central gang wars, experiencing the LA riots in '92, and just going through a whole lot of different things in Los Angeles growing up. And I just decided to put it all down on paper. I wound up having like 10 chapters when I was done. So right now it's in the editing process. Within a few months it should be done with the editing, and we'll be moving into the publishing process. Also after that, we'll be scripting the book and turning it into a short film.
And when you mentioned a few minutes ago about the '92 riots, just to clarify, did you actually have the opportunity to witness the '92 riots with your own eyes?
Yes, I was actually there on Vermont, Manchester, Broadway, Martin Luther King Boulevard, Figueroa, Florence Avenue, Hoover Street. I was actually there on those blocks, watching those businesses burn to the ground, watching those people defend and protect their private-owned investments, and there watching the crowd and the public deal with, the oppression of the time and the police enforcement, and just kind of spewing out how they felt, and I don't never want to put it on looting and rioting, because once you get a group of people who have been oppressed and are tired of dealing with the situation they're in, they're going to act out in any way they can. And any scientific experiment with rats or monkeys or anything else, when they're in a confined space, given a minimal amount of resources to survive, the economic system is bare to none. The educational system is bare to none. You're going to always have an uproar of violence, an uproar of crime, and we need to start looking at the statistics of things instead of just looking at the people who are involved in what's going on. But to answer your question, yes, I was around 7 or 8 years old, standing right out there on those streets and corners, watching the neighborhood in the city burn, watching the National Guard pull up with their trucks and tanks and standing in front of our homes, forcing us to stay in the house and certain things of that nature.
And before we move off on this topic, though, obviously, like you said, you were like 7, 8 years old, but From what you remember, do you think the '92 riots were worse than the riots that are currently going on right now?
Actually, you know what? I want to put it in a different aspect because the '92 riots were confined to a area that was predominantly comprised of a certain economic status, or I want to refrain from using the word type of people because you have all ethnicities living in South Central, Watts, Compton, Whittier, and those areas that this thing happened. But what I want to say is that those events were comprised of people who were kind of sectioned off in that area. What I look at now, when I look at these riots, I see a vast variety of individuals coming from all over the place. They're coming from the suburbs. They're coming from the ghettos. They're coming from the downtown housings. They're coming from the metropolitan areas. They're coming from the countries, and they're coming in droves and meeting up in places to protest what is going on. And I want to kind of just differentiate the fact that back in '92, these individuals who would not leave their homes to come and support this movement in this generation are now taking the tenacity and the fortitude to come out of wherever they are and be a part of this fight and this struggle.
And also, aside from being an author, you are also an actor as well. I saw on Facebook that you were in a film called Lion Ass Best Friends. Could you tell us a bit more about that project? How did you land that role?
Uh, that role was directed by a good longtime friend of mine, Romeo Holloway. He was actually a member of the West Side Connection when they were around, and he befriended me when I was homeless in South Central, and we went through a whole era together. I want to call it an era because it seems like forever ago, but it was very important. That time I was homeless. He took me in. He bought me clothes. He bought me shirts, shoes. He gave me the game. And later on, he started doing directing. His first film was, I believe it was homeless downtown or downtown homeless, where he did a documentary where he went around in downtown Los Angeles. He went to Venice Beach, Hermosa Beach, Santa Monica, and he visited with homeless individuals. And a lot of these homeless people were considered missing. And what he did is he went around and he reunited a lot of these homeless people with their families. And so what he did is after that he started getting into a string of comedy directing where he linked up with cats like Slick Johnson, who starred in Black Jesus, as Black Jesus. He hooked up with Exhibit during the Pimp My Ride series. And he just did a lot of work. And so I was able to connect with him when he was shooting this film. And I came down and he was like, hey, man, we got these parts and you'd be a great fit. And he has some other things coming up that I'm going to be a part of. And he's actually the director that's helping me script the book. So look forward to a lot of work from me and him coming soon. That's Romeo Holloway 9008. Y'all can check him out on all social media platforms.
And before we move away on your movie career, you have also done work with Omar Gooding, who was Cuba Gooding Jr.'s brother. How did you get connected with Omar, and what was it like working with him?
Oh wow, Omar. Okay, so that's a long story, but I'm gonna try and shorten it up. I had a friend called Smith. We used to call him Smith, but his name is Randolph Smith, and he was a longtime friend of Omar. And while I was homeless, I was introduced to him by his nephew. And he took me one time to Hollywood, and we just kind of went into this place. I didn't really know what was going on. And Omar was there. And that was my first introduction to him. And he's also, a lot of people don't know, but Omar Gooding is also a hip-hop artist. Not just a hip-hop artist, but he's very, very talented. He's very skilled when it comes to these bars. So when y'all get a chance, check out Omar Givens Jr. His last project was called The Excuse. It dropped last year. And I plugged with him, and I spent a lot of time. At that time, he stayed in the Valley in the 818. So I spent a lot of time driving out there, meeting up with him. I used to sleep on his couch, sleep on his floor. And he would introduce me to certain cats like Focus from Aftermath, Black Toven, and just a wide range of different individuals. Bentley Cal Evans, the director of Family Time and In the Cuts. He also worked on The Martin Show and The Jamie Foxx Show as a writer and executive producer. And we just became good friends after the years. I mean, now it's been probably over 15 years, but we've worked on multiple levels. We have music out, and I've also been invited down to be a guest star on his TV show. So we're waiting for all that to pan out. Of course, you know, right now we're going through riots and pandemics and the end of the world and zombies and all that shit. So once it's all over, you know, you'll be able to see me on a different level on that stage and platform.
And also, in the year 2016, you released the song Friday featuring West Coast Chisel. How did you get connected with West Coast Chisel? And of course, like, where can our listeners buy or stream themselves a copy of that particular single?
Oh, that Friday, that was crazy. What happened was is me and Chisel were on the same platform on a mixtape together. And I heard his song, and I just had to reach out to him about doing a track together. So, of course, with his style, you know, being from Compton and whatnot, you know, I shot him the track that was produced by Twin for Twin Beats. It was a perfect fit. We got together, we shot it, we shot the emails across, did the song, and the rest of it was history. But if anybody wants to go check that song out, it's on my Bandcamp, bandcamp.com/JReal Da Realest. You can check that song out. You can also check out on there a mixtape that I have hosted by comedian Ari Spears. I think we got together around that year or the year prior, and we put out a mixtape where I just kind of took different independent artists. I reached out to all different independent artists with different styles. I asked them if they wanted to be on the project for a small submission fee, and we put the project together and put it out.
And that was pretty cool. Like, is that do you have any more plans to work with Chisel at all, or is that the only time?
Oh no, we got something in the works right now. Actually, I emailed them something not too long ago. So you guys definitely look forward to some new music from me and him.
By the sounds, it looks like it's going to be one hell of a part 2.
Oh man, I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on it. That guy is so talented, and I mean, as far as being, you know, underrated artist, I look at myself as an underrated artist, and we kind of have a basis to where, you know, all of us underrated artists kind of swim around the same waters, you know. So I always love collaborating with those up and coming, those what I call next on the West artists, and you know, we just kind of in line. You know, everybody has to take their turn. There's a pecking order in this system, just like everything else, and we're just waiting in line, you know.
And also, Your Realist in the Game Volume 2 was hosted by comedian Aries Spears. I have to ask you, how did you get connected with Aries? And also, where can our listeners buy or stream themselves a copy of that record?
The Realist in the Game Volume 2 is also on my Bandcamp. So if you go to bandcamp.com/JReal Da Realest, you can get a copy of that. What happened was, at a point in time, I was running under Chain Gang West Promotion when Twitter, this is before Instagram and before Snapchat and TikTok, when it was basically just MySpace and Twitter came on, Facebook was brand new. I was running a Twitter promotion, and I was doing such numbers that Harry Spears actually contacted me, and he wanted to know how I was doing what I was doing. He Spears and a lot of individuals on that level, they come from the original school, the old school. So when it came to a lot of social media, social networking promotion, they weren't really savvy on how to, really get out there. And so that's what I was working on. That's what he asked me to do. So I was doing promotion for Ari Spears. And in turn, I kind of got at him and, hey, man, look me up. I want to be one of the first independent artists with a underground, even though he's mainstream, he's still really underground because he hasn't been given the respect or the platform of Steve Harvey or Dave Chappelle, but he's been working just as long, if not longer, than some of these comedians. But Kevin Hart's, the what's the other guy with the hair, Cat Williams and all that. Ari Spears has been around since Mad TV. I'm talking about, we talking about back in the day. And he really has not getting the acknowledgement that he deserves as one of the pioneers of this new comedy school. And so I wanted to be one of the first independent artists to have underground comedian host a mixtape. And we put the project together. He liked the idea when I pitched it to him. And we put it out. And like I said, if anybody wants to listen to that, that's called Realest in the Game Volume 2. You can Google it or you can bandcamp.com/JReal Da Realest to get a bar of that.
And also on May 8th, you released a single, Certified, featuring Compton AV. I have to ask you, how did you get connected with Compton AV? And if you can, tell us where we can actually get a copy of that single.
Well, the track of Compton AV Certified is available on all platforms. Wherever you listen to music, you can find it. It's also on YouTube, Spotify, Tidal, and all the rest of the streaming sites. Also on any site you can download music as far as iTunes, Amazon, Apple Music, and etc. Me and Compton AV have been supporting and following each other's music for a long time. It's so long that it was noticeable. So when I was incarcerated at a point in time, I was actually privileged enough to be able to reach out during my incarceration to him. And he's a humble guy. This guy is humble. You know what I'm saying? To the fact that where to the point to where he noticed our support of each other. And he came out and he said, look, man, I see what you're doing. I know that we all got to support each other as independent West Coast artists. Let me know what you want to do. Send me a track, and we got it. So I was able to get a song to him during my incarceration. And when I was out, we finished the track up, and it was completed, put out, actually put out under the auspices of Empire Records. That's a blessing. And it's streaming now, and we're planning to shoot the video actually within the next month here or so. So look forward to that. You can get that on all platforms, YouTube. It's available, or you can also go to any of my social media sites right now, and it's the most present song that I'm promoting. So any link that I have posted up right now in any bio, more than likely send you there.
So I have to ask you, JReal, what's next for you? Is there anything else you want to promote or anything of that nature when we still have you here live on the air?
Well, I mean, I do have the next track that I'm coming out with is entitled 100 Grand. It's featuring Sav Did It. You guys can look him up. He has a label under Empire Records also. And we should be dropping that within the next month or so. So you can look forward to that. But right now, I'm just kind of working on staying focused on what I've already, what I've got in the works. I've learned after years and years of doing this not to fill my plate. This thing is about consistency, but it's also about patience. And if anybody's trying to promote anything or push anything, stay consistent, on that one thing. It might not seem like it's working right now, but the harder you push it, the further it'll get out there. So right now, I just, implore everybody to go to my social media sites, social networking sites, any music platforms where you can find me, and just kind of, vibe to what's there, and just look forward to what's coming.
And also, speaking of your social media and music platforms, this is the time in the interview, JReal, that I give a chance for the individual that comes on the station, just a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, and of course your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and your musical journey if they're not already doing so.
Definitely, man. I guess the first team I'd have to shout out is Twin for Twin Beats. My engineers and producers for over 15 years. Almost all of the productions and engineering that you've heard from JReal Da Realest, from Babysitters featuring Speedboy 2 to the Cocaine to me featuring Glasses Malone, Chino Excel, Nocturnal, and a whole host of other individuals that I feature with have all been engineered and produced by Twin for Twin Beats. So, it's a powerhouse. As an artist with no production team, you're really not going to go far. I definitely have to give a shout out to them. After that, there's so many different names, so many different people that I can shout out that it will take me all day. I definitely have to shout out the fam. You know what I'm saying? My family. And my guy Dash. My guy Dash. Hey, as I'm talking to you right now, I'm actually laying here getting a tattoo at the same time I'm talking to you.
Hey man, that's pretty dope, man. I honestly, that's the first time someone's ever got a tattoo while doing an interview. I actually have to say though, I have had an individual when they were actually doing an interview, actually had their haircut going on, man. So you know what?
Oh man, he said doing the haircut. Yeah, man, I'm laying here getting a stomach tattoo right now. But my guy Gash, man, who's doing the tattoo, I definitely want y'all. I'm gonna tag him into some stuff we got coming up. He is a hell of an artist, representing Arizona. He's out of Arizona, which is where I'm at right now. And like I said, man, I could go over a whole host of names and individuals that would take me all day. Those who know me know that I love them and I appreciate their support, and they know if I had the time I would shout them out and things like that. But right now, man, I just want everybody to be safe in the times that we're going on. I want everybody to be aware of what's going on. Don't be baffled. Don't be fooled. You know what I'm saying? Keep your head above the water, but below the radar.
Most definitely. I first and foremost want to say, JReal, thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio. And most definitely, man, enjoy getting the rest of that tattoo, and I hope it turns out great.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. And I want to thank you, man, for giving this platform. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are not opening forums for independent artists to be able to come on and tell their story and put their music out there on the line. A lot of these cats want money and they want deposits and they want you to do this and do that, man. But I see you out here. Not only do you interview the top names and the mainstream guys, but you're giving the indie artist, the individual who might not have the door, who might not have the window, an opportunity to get their stuff out there, man. So at the end of the day, I want to thank you.
Hey man, I appreciate you, and you're most certainly welcome. And before I let you go, I want to tell you a little bit about that. The reason why I do what I do is because, yeah, I love interviewing those big, mainstream famous individuals, but the reason why I add people like yourself into the mix as well, because those big individuals listen to the station, which means they're going to listen to your music. And I look at it as, if you're a talented artist and you have that real, rugged, raw hip-hop like yourself, I feel you deserve the opportunity just as much as them. So if they're listening, they could pick you up and, sign you. So if I can help an independent artist like yourself, man, I'll try my best.
Yeah, man, and we appreciate that, man. We really do, man. So you just be safe out there, man. Positive energy going your way to you and your family, bro.
Most definitely, man. You stay safe out there as well, and have yourself a wonderful night, man.